Today on Animal Outtakes,
we have lots of alligators here.
Lots of alligators indeed. We're learning all about these creatures that have been around for millions of years.
That's very prehistoric, isn't it?
And finding out what makes them so fascinating.
So I think they just fascinate people.
They're just fascinating.
Hello and welcome to Animal Outtakes. I'm your host, Marcia Panucci. One of Florida's most iconic animals is the alligator, but these reptiles haven't always been as prominent as they are now. Today, we'll explore the habitat of the alligator and learn more about these interesting creatures. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get started.
It's a gorgeous day to be out on the lake, deep in the heart of the Myakka River State Park in Sarasota, Florida. And today, we're looking for alligators.
The record in Florida for alligator size is 18 feet 2 inches and 1,045 pounds.
Airboat tour guide Dick Friedland has been thrilling tourists for years with his narrated sightseeing tours of Upper Myakka Lake, a prime viewing location for these prehistoric creatures.
Dick, we're spending a beautiful day here at the Myakka State Park with you, the captain of the boat. What are we going to see this morning?
Well, hopefully we'll see some alligators. That's what people come for. But we'll also this morning we'll also see some water hyacinth flowers. They're beautiful lavender flowers we don't always see. And earlier this morning we saw a limpkin, which is a pretty rare bird, and several roseate spoonbills, which are also very rare and the only wild pink bird in Florida.
Now, we mostly come on these tours because we want to see the alligators. What's the mystique?
Well, that's what people want to see, all right. I guess people in Minnesota don't see many alligators, that's why. We get an awful lot of people from the upper Midwest, and we get a lot of people from all over the world.
Over 400,000 visitors came through the park in 2014, mostly to see the alligators.
The alligators. It's a prehistoric animal.
Yeah, it is. It's been around for 200 million years.
But these animals have come close to extinction before. In the 1950s, hunting and habitat destruction left the number of American alligators in the wild at an all-time low. Through a concerted effort between the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, along with state wildlife agencies, the alligator went from critically endangered to fully recovered in 2 decades. However, the alligator's cousin, the crocodile, hasn't fared quite as well. More on that in a bit. Back on dry land, we hop in with one of the park rangers to see if we can find any more gators.
Teresa, what are we going to see here? And tell us a little bit about the park, because it is quite famous, isn't it?
Well, yes. First of all, we're one of the biggest state parks in Florida. And one of the main reasons people come to visit us here at Myakka is to see alligators. We have lots of alligators here. The best time to see alligators is during the winter months on cool, sunny days when they all like to be out in the sun basking.
You mentioned the word alligator, and I watch people's expressions, and the eyes get big, and you begin to see a little bit of fear. Obviously, they're in the wild, so anything goes?
Yes, and really, when people use good judgment and common sense, there's really no danger. Usually people are standing on the bridge looking at the alligators, or seeing them from a distance is probably the best thing, but when you're canoeing or kayaking, you're definitely going to get a much closer look at the alligators. I've worked here for 10 years, and I still never get tired of seeing them, so I think they just fascinate people.
The American alligator actually belongs to the crocodile family, a species that dates back more than 200 million years, dating back to the dinosaurs.
Well, he's got some good time there.
People ask me all the time about the difference between alligators and crocodiles, but 200 million years ago, they were the same animal.
What's fascinating about them?
They're incredible. I mean, they are living fossils, is what they are.
Zookeeper Abigail McLaughlin loves reptiles.
It's great that I get to work hands-on with these reptiles, hands-on with these alligators and crocodiles. They're just fascinating.
Well, here we are, Abigail with Sergeant. I'm very cautious about this alligator. I think this is how you get a new host.
Well, don't you worry, his mouth is taped shut and he doesn't have very strong muscles to open that, so I promise you he will not be dangerous.
On this juvenile gator, while his snout is a little less intimidating, he is no less dangerous than a full-size gator.
How dangerous is a 2-footer to humans?
His jaw is very powerful still, and he still uses a lot of muscles to shut that jaw. So, and his teeth are very sharp, and they have about 74 to 82 teeth. And those teeth are hollow, but actually they are very, very powerful, their jaws, as well as very sharp teeth. So yes, it can be dangerous.
When we say powerful, we're not kidding. An alligator can exert nearly 3,000 pounds of pressure per square inch when it chomps down on its prey. By comparison, that's about 15 times more powerful than a human bite. Alligators rank 5th on the list of strongest biters. The saltwater crocodile ranked number 1. Sitting atop that mighty snout are 2 peering eyes, all the better to see their prey with.
That way he can hide in water and camouflage himself to resemble a log. And that way he can still breathe and see and submerge his entire rest of his body into that water.
Now, the eyes, as you say, are right there on top. Mm-hmm. Can he do a 360, or does he have any peripheral vision, or is it straight on?
He can't see 360, but he can see definitely. They have pretty good eyesight, so they can see a lot around them.
So
he's looking at you.
Oh, he is. He's winking. What does that mean?
Yes, he is.
Still ahead on Animal Outtakes.
Right, what kind of gator is this?
This is actually a crocodile. Yeah, her name is Lee, and she is a Siamese crocodile.
How you can determine if you're looking at an alligator or its more ferocious cousin. But first,
he's kind of rubbery, almost like a rubber toy is the way he feels.
We're getting hands-on with the mighty gators and learning more about the swamps they call home.
For thousands of years, we've been humans' best friend. You've been through a lot, and we've been right there with you. A dog is part of the family, a confidant, and a friend who always knows how to get into your heart. So what happens to our beloved companions when we can no longer care for them? This is why we've created Dante's Den, an innovative, state-of-the-art facility that will provide care for up to 100 dogs.
Dante's Den is a community for joyful dogs.
Millions of Americans face uncertainty when planning for the future of beloved pets who may well outlive them. Dante's Den is a charitable organization, so in whatever capacity you can, please lend your support so that we may continue this most wonderful work.
Dante and I would like to thank you for watching and for also opening up your hearts to our wonderful community of joyful dogs.
Learn about the many ways you can become involved by visiting dantesden.org.
I'd like you to meet my new best friend, the Kissing Bandit. This is Bling. Bling is a 10-month-old Chihuahua mix and the sweetest little girl that you would ever want. She loves to play ball. She loves to cool her paws in the pool, and she's just the best kisser. Bling is looking for a very good forever home. She had a tough beginning. She was found in a vacant apartment with no food and no water for about 3 days. And she survived. And then she came to Dante's Den, where we fattened her up a little bit and we gave her some water. And she has just thrived.
Good job. Good job.
And she is the perfect dog. She loves other dogs, she loves people, and she's just the best.
Our search for alligators led us to a local zoo. where we're getting an up-close, hands-on look at these amazing animals.
Now, the interesting thing with Sargent that I noticed when you gave him to me, and I'd be happy to hold Sargent.
There we go, just like that, right there.
There we go. Now
Now he's sitting comfortably on.
Now look at this is your debut, okay? He's kind of rubbery, almost like a rubber toy is the way he feels. Is this typical?
Yes, that's very typical. He's a little dried up, he's been out of the water, so they're semi-aquatic. They spend a lot of time on land as well as in water, depending on how they want to regulate their body temperature. So right now he's a little dried up, he's been out of the water soaking up that sun.
Alligators make their home in wetlands, ranging from the Carolinas. They are prominent here in Florida.
Alligators are in lots of rivers, swamps, streams, ponds, and they are more adapted to freshwater environments, especially the Everglades, the Keys.
That's probably why so many enjoy spending time in Mayaca State Park, one of the largest state parks in Florida.
How many alligators would you say call the park home?
Well, that's hard to say. Each year FWC does an alligator count, but they only count them in the upper lake, and they usually count around 1,000. So that's just in the upper lake. We also have the lower lake and the whole river that runs through the park, so there's quite a few here.
And while they do travel, most alligators will spend their lives in one area.
They do not migrate. They can. They sometimes they swim upriver or downriver, but this is a pretty good racket for them here. I mean, this is about as good as you can get if you're an alligator. Why go someplace that's less ideal? Elsewhere, alligators have been known to go as far as 35 miles over land during mating season. And it's not unusual for an alligator to go several miles over land in one night. But they don't have any real reason to leave this lake because it's such a good deal for them.
If any of these alligators decided to move away, they'd most likely begin by heading down the river.
How do they travel? I never really see them on the go.
Well, usually they're in the water. That's where they're the most comfortable, and they can travel very fast in the water. On land, they're not quite as fast, although they can run very short distances fast, so I wouldn't, get in one's way if you do see it out of the water. But they're definitely more comfortable swimming in the water, and they'd rather be in the water.
What is the average size that you see here at Mayaca State Park?
They can be anywhere from, tiny babies, about 7 or 8 inches, up to about 12 to 13 feet, but I would say the average size is probably maybe 6 to 7 feet.
When fully grown, alligators are apex predators, meaning they're basically the top of the food chain. But not all gators reach maturity.
What is very interesting to me, of course, is he's got this armor on the top, but on the bottom, it's very fleshy, almost very vulnerable.
Exactly.
So what would be a predator to him?
Other alligators, mostly. But when they're juveniles, or when they're babies or hatchlings, so when they're in their eggs, you need to watch out for mammals like raccoons, or anything that eats eggs like birds of prey. And when they are babies, they can be eaten by other alligators.
When it comes to their diet, gators aren't terribly picky eaters.
But typically when they're juveniles, they eat insects, amphibians, even other reptiles like snakes. And as they get older, they're going to start eating fish, as well as birds and small mammals. So these guys love fish. We actually feed them tilapia, and they find it delicious. And then when they get to be adults, pretty much anything, really. Like I said, they were apex predators, so they're going to eat lots of mammals, birds, anything that their powerful jaw can get a hold of.
Being here in the Sarasota, Florida area, we know the golf courses are homes to these guys. Would we find them anywhere else in the waters?
Yes, you would. You can find them in even small ponds as well, anywhere that they're going to be traveling and getting cooled down by any type of body of water, so yes.
For golfers, seeing alligators on their favorite green is nothing new. In fact, some of these creatures have become celebrities in their own right. Like Goliath, This 12 to 13 foot long alligator has taken up residence at a course in Inglewood, Florida, making national headlines in 2015 when he interrupted a game by taking a stroll across the greens. Then there was the time a slightly smaller gator challenged him for his territory on the course. A tussle ensued, and the photos again went viral. The club says they're not planning to remove Goliath or the 100 or so other gators that call it home. But what if one of these big guys crawls up to your back door?
If there happens to be one in your pool or gets into your yard, on your porch or whatever, call FWC's hotline and they'll tell you what to do.
And they will probably come and remove it or send a trapper?
They will definitely help you out, yes.
So let us discuss if we were to meet. If I was to meet Sergeant eye to eye, he's on the ground, I'm a few feet away from him. What do I do?
Just don't approach them, because that's how attacks happen, and never try to feed them as well, because then they'll associate food with humans. So typically the only time that there are alligator or crocodile attacks is when people are actually going into their environment.
Do you turn around and run, or do you somehow back up slowly and try to get?
I would back up, and if they start hissing or showing a type of dominant behavior, or giving you any idea that they feel uncomfortable, then yes, just walk away.
Okay. Now, there is an old wives' tale that if you encounter an alligator on land, don't walk in a straight line, zigzag. Is that a fallacy?
I would say that's more of a myth, yes, definitely. Because if you're going to go in zigzags and he's going to go straight on, don't you think that he has more of an advantage?
Perhaps. Perhaps.
Do you think they're misunderstood animals?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's good to have, a healthy respect for them, but, nobody's ever been injured by an alligator attack here, killed or anything. As long as you have common sense and you're using your good judgment, they leave you alone. They're pretty much scared of us.
Coming up next,
We protect the alligators to kind of encompass the crocodiles since they look so much alike.
recognizing the subtle differences in animals that look very much the same.
For thousands of years, we've been humans' best friend. You've been through a lot, and we've been right there with you. A dog is part of the family, a confidant, and a friend who always knows how to get into your heart. So what happens to our beloved companions when we can no longer care for them? This is why we've created Dante's Den, an innovative, state-of-the-art facility that will provide care for up to 100 dogs.
Dante's Den is a community for joyful dogs.
Millions of Americans face uncertainty when planning for the future of beloved pets who may well outlive them. Dante's Den is a charitable organization, so in whatever capacity you can, please lend your support so that we may continue this most wonderful work.
Dante and I would like to thank you for watching and for also opening up your hearts to our wonderful community of joyful dogs.
Learn about the many ways you could become involved by visiting dantesden.org.
Hurricane season is here, and Suncoast weather can go from this to this in seconds. So when severe weather threatens, count on the official Suncoast Storm Team at ABC7.
We're armed with the most advanced weather technology so that we can bring you storm warnings faster and with more detail than ever before.
Plus, we focus on the Suncoast and track storms right down to your neighborhood.
On air, online, and on your mobile device. Turn to the official Suncoast Storm Team at ABC7. We're here for you.
At ABC7, our entire weathercast is dedicated to the Suncoast, and now we bring it to you like never before with the all-new official Suncoast forecast. Beach and boating forecast. The winds will be out of the northwest at 10 knots.
Now, with the most advanced graphics and technology, we bring you weather where you live, pinpointing right down to your neighborhood. Zooming into the Sarasota Bayfront,
The all-new official Suncoast forecast, only on ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. On the next Black Almanac.
The preservation and publication of Black history need only be trusted to those of whom the history represents. This way, we can be sure these great contributions will never again be destroyed, ignored, or marginalized, or diminished in any way from recognition and appreciation, looking at Sarasota and Newtown through the eyes of its black citizens.
Sunday morning at 7:30 on ABC 7.
And now it's time for Tales from Dante's Den.
Welcome to Dante's Den. We're so happy that you're here today, and we just can't wait to show you all of our babies.
Recently, a group of non-traditional students converged on Dante's Den.
Classroom on Wheels is a bus-based program, school bus-based program with the Sarasota County school system. You would think of these classes as half-day field trips. We travel all over Sarasota, Manatee counties, and sometimes even farther on day trips, visiting a variety of places that would include business, industry, arts, culture.
Instructor Brenda Lee Hickman is tasked with coordinating the trips, and when she read about Dante's Den, she knew she had to include a visit.
I knew that it was an unbelievable facility, and I wanted to share that with my students.
This is our very famous swimming pool. It is not for humans. It is definitely for the dogs. And here's Dante.
The first stop on the tour was the courtyard and our therapeutic pool. Dante showed off, leaping into the water after a toy.
Go on, Dante, go on. It's okay, baby. He's hurting it. Yay!
The tour continued through the dens, where dogs in the Semper Paw program are staying. Their owners are currently serving overseas in the military. Adoptable dogs can be found in every building on the campus, including the state-of-the-art hospital.
In most rescues and refuges, they're lucky to have a clinic. But here we have a full hospital. All of the equipment is new. We can do neutering and spaying all the way up to neurological surgery.
By the end of the day, most all of the students were singing the praises of Dante's Den and our mission.
Her facility is just over and above what you would see in most facilities. If I were in the market for adopting a dog, this is without question where I would come.
Alligators are a protected species here in Florida, is it not?
Correct.
Why? There's so many of them.
You're right. The alligators are protected because, actually, of the crocodiles that live in South Florida. There are estimated over 1 million alligators in Florida.
Oh, my.
But there's also the Florida crocodile, and their numbers aren't so high. So in order to protect them, we protect the alligators to kind of encompass the crocodiles. Since they look so much alike, we don't want people being able to go out and, harvest an alligator thinking they have an alligator and they really have a crocodile. So it's to protect the crocodiles.
Crocodiles and alligators are from the same family and look very similar. But there are a few differences that can distinguish the species.
Is one a freshwater, a saltwater? Can they cohabitate together?
They do cohabitate in South Florida. We don't have crocodiles here at Mayaca. We're too far north. But the crocodiles do live more in saltwater because they have a special gland on their tongue that can get rid of the salt. Alligators don't have that, so they're mostly in freshwater.
Perhaps the most recognizable difference is in the snout.
The main thing that people notice is the crocodile's snout is very much narrower than the alligator's. The alligator is much more rounded. So the crocodile's teeth stick out on either side, so it looks like its teeth are overhanging.
What kind of gator is this? Or
this crocodile? Is actually a crocodile. Yeah, her name is Lee, and she is a Siamese crocodile. And typically, I think she's the most aggressive one we have. So she gets really, really food aggressive as well.
The aggressive nature of crocodiles is another difference between these reptile cousins.
They're much more aggressive. Right now, we do not have a problem with people boating in the lake with alligators, but if we had crocodiles in the lake, people probably wouldn't want to be taking kayaks out.
Really?
Yeah, we don't ever want to be in the water with her.
While the crocodiles hold the title for aggression, it doesn't mean you can let your guard down with gators.
They're wild animals, and they've got very sharp teeth. Remember that 3,000 per square inch bite, and they all have 80 sharp teeth. So you don't want to get. So the fact that they are not aggressive, but they are dangerous wild animals, so you don't want to get too close to them.
And how about those alligators? Are they good friends of yours?
They're all very friendly alligators. Alligators are all friendly, yes.
I've worked here for 10 years, and I still never get tired of seeing them. So I think they just fascinate people.
Great that I get to work hands-on with these reptiles, hands-on with these alligators and crocodiles. They're just fascinating.
We'll be right back.
At ABC7, it's all about being here for you. Introducing ABC7 News at 7 with award-winning investigative journalist Alan Cohn. In-depth reporting and debate on important issues and stories in our community. With a featured topic of the day and a live roundtable discussion with community leaders and newsmakers. Plus a quick recap of the day's top stories and weather. ABC7 News at 7, weeknights. Now more than ever, we're here for you, Suncoast. Monday at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Vargas. Exercise can boost your energy, improve your mood, and make you feel better. And now there's another reason to start thinking about hitting the gym. Monday on Good Morning Suncoast, we'll show you what impact it could have on your risk of stroke. John?
We'll watch for a reduced rain chance as we head into the beginning of the work week. We'll talk about that bright and early.
Monday at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you. Hurricane season is here, and so is the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. This essential resource arms you with vital information you need to protect your family and property when severe weather threatens the Suncoast, including how to create your readiness plan and survival kit, shelter locations, what to do with pets, and important phone numbers. Visit mysuncoast.com and download the official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. Brought to you by the Florida Lottery.
Thanks to my volunteer, I am a better eater.
Thanks to my volunteer, that seems simple now.
Thanks to my volunteer, I discovered new career goals.
I'm a volunteer for Sarasota County Schools, so I know I can make a difference. And you can too. Give an hour, change a life.
Animal Outtakes is produced by Dante's Den Foundation, a nonprofit group dedicated to creating the best life for dogs. If you would like to learn more about Dante's Den, donate, or volunteer, visit our website, dantesden.org.
That's it for this episode of Animal Outtakes. Thanks for coming along as we explored the world of alligators and learned about why these creatures are an important part of our ecosystem. Join us again next week for another outstanding animal adventure. We'll see you then.
Well, what can I say?
You can give him a kiss.
Really? You know, how do you know if it's a boy or a girl?
Do you want to sex him? But this is their cloaca.
I see it.
So, yeah.
I see it. That's another blooper.
Yeah.
We're going to end up on cable.
Hurricane season is here, and Suncoast weather can go from this to this in seconds. So when severe weather threatens, count on the official Suncoast Storm Team at ABC7.
We're armed with the most advanced weather technology so that we can bring you storm warnings faster and with more detail than ever before.
Plus, we focus on the Suncoast and track storms right down to your neighborhood.
On air, online, and on your mobile device. Turn to the official Suncoast Storm Team at ABC7. We're here for you.
At SWC Properties, we pride ourselves in providing to you the very best in customer satisfaction, and the secret's getting out. Maybe that's why so many people have chosen to list their homes with our friendly and qualified agents. After all, it only makes sense to list with a growing agency that markets in so many places. To list your home with SWC, give us a call at our Sarasota office. And don't forget to watch the House to Home Show every Saturday night here on ABC7. It's simple. We just market your home better.
ABC7 is proud to present Line Dance Central. Now you can learn popular country and not-so-country line dances from the comfort of your own home. Just visit mysuncoast.com, click on Entertainment, and you'll be kicking up your boots or flip-flops in no time. Brought to you by the White Buffalo Saloon and Sunset Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. The official Suncoast Hurricane Guide from ABC7. Download yours today. ABC7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you weeknights at